Hi friends, hope you're having a great day. Oh, I'm so excited to connect with you. If I don't look excited, it's only because I tried to do this already and I just was stumbling on my words, so I want to start fresh here. But I have been thinking about you. I have been thinking about this community, is what I mean by that, and all the comments, all the stories, all the support, all the generosity. And for like the last month, I have been really feeling called to like connect with you. But I just want to be perfectly candid. Like, up until the last week, I had nothing to offer. Like, I had nothing to add. I had nothing, it was just getting worse. Things up until the last week have just been getting worse. So, little breakdown, right? I'll try to keep it like short because you may have watched already the other videos. But in April, I found out I was pregnant, found out something was wrong, found out I was going to miscarried, found out I was still pregnant, ended up taking a low-dose chemotherapy drug called methotrexate, which was not great, did not work, ended up rupturing the ectopic, finding out I was pregnant and it was an ectopic. The methotrexate was supposed to clear the ectopic, it didn't work, and then I ended up rupturing on June 20th. I had emergency surgery that day, and effectively after that, I'm sterile, and that has been a very challenging experience for me, for my husband. We were really believing we were, going to add to our family that way. That, people are asking me like, well, why don't you adopt? Why don't you do IVF? We both agree that IVF is not the right option for us. And even if we were going to adopt in the future, it doesn't take away like the grief right now. And we're not going to just like fill this hole with like an adoption or something. It just wouldn't be right. It just doesn't, I don't believe that that's like the right approach for us. So that was like 8 weeks of hell, like that was like 8 weeks of hell. The first week of being pregnant was kind of nice, kind of optimistic, kind of special. And after that, it was just one thing after the other. Once I had surgery on June 20th, by the way, it's September 2nd today, if you're watching this down the road, right? So, some time has gone by. July and August have gone by. After the surgery, I was dealing with some pretty heavy grief, as you can imagine. To be, pregnant and then be sterile, it was just a lot, to process. Losing that pregnancy was hard, but more so it was like the definitive nature of losing my second tube and the trauma of that surgery. It was very traumatic. I've had an ectopic before, which was also very traumatic, so it was just like another really horrible experience. And this one very like finalizing, like that's it. We're not doing IVF. First of all, it's very expensive, very, very, very expensive for us. And there's not like a very significant, like, yes, you will definitely get your baby out of this. And also, my husband's not super spiritual. He's very scientific. I'm more spiritual, but we both agree on so many things, whether we're looking at from the perspective of science and biology or, of my perspective of higher intelligence and nature. My body said no that day, my body said no. I don't understand it. It breaks my heart, right? But for whatever reason, my body said no, and I'm not going to put it through more stuff. I have scars now, like more scars. I am different now. I'm dealing with other stuff, right, that I'm going to share with you. But my body said no, and I just feel like I need to respect that, I don't think that that's the case for everybody. I think IVF is amazing. I think it's beautiful. I think it's, amazing that can happen, that people, for us, it's just, that's not the route that we're going to take, So, okay, as I said, been dealing with grief. Also, my husband had surgery in August, so like less than a month ago, my husband had surgery. My son started school, brand new school, 7th grade. I don't know if you remember, 7th grade is like the worst year. So like I really feel for him. I'm trying to be there for him. And he turned 13. So he's going through puberty and I'm going through my stuff. So it's just been very hectic like this past month. And as I said, I had nothing to come to you with because since the surgery up until honestly just this week, like just like the last week or so, last like 7 days or so, I've felt terrible. I've just been terrible. I've been so deeply, deeply depressed. There are times, specifically like around ovulation for me, but many other times throughout many other times in general, where I'm just like catatonic and just tears like pouring down my face and I can't stop and I can't help it. And to be perfectly honest with you, trigger warning here, right? But like, and by the way, I would never hurt myself. Never hurt myself. I would never hurt myself. I have my son who loves me so much. I would never do that to him. My husband is amazing. I love this community. I have purpose, like, but when you're literally like catatonic level depression, I'm feeling like, I wish this ectopic had killed me. Like I can't do this anymore. So as I said, I was like pregnant for like 9 weeks, 8 of those being torture. And then from the surgery, June 20th, till just this last week, it has been a nightmare. Like it's been a nightmare. Okay, so when someone has a gynecological surgery, and by the way, this is gonna be TMI. I'm gonna talk to you about sex a little and the problems. This is gonna be TMI, just so you know, TMI, okay? Essentially, when someone has a gynecological operation, mine was like laparoscopic, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Especially, okay, so I'm talking about tubes here, right? For the fallopian or uterine tubes. People might have them removed to prevent pregnancy permanently. People might have them removed to, decrease likelihood of potential like ovarian cancer. People like me might have them removed through, painful and traumatic ectopic surgeries, or a variety of other reasons. People might have their tubes tied and they're not even removed exactly, right? So, but regardless, when there's a surgery going on there, what I've learned, which I didn't know to expect or look for, but it can impede on blood flow to the ovaries, if you still have your ovaries, which I do. So while some people might, let's say, have a hysterectomy or the removal of their ovaries for one reason or another, and then they go into menopause, like that's the ovaries are gone, they're going into menopause. That's not the case with me, but I am having some extreme acceleration into perimenopause. So prior to this surgery, I was pregnant, I was pregnant. I wasn't feeling any signs of perimenopause, normal periods, regular, everything, as pretty much as it always has been, since I've been menstruating and everything, right? And that surgery, whether it was the stress of the surgery itself, like the stress of the surgery, from like my stress, my cortisol, to the physical stress of the surgery and being like, having stuff messed with in there, or the adhesions, the scar tissue, or the sutures or stitches themselves, or again, the blood flow issues that could happen if the fallopian tubes have been messed with or removed. Or there's other reasons, such as, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but like this basically like hormonal, like pituitary axis point that can get messed with. Like, for example, I was pregnant and then I had a crash, and with the surgery could have like messed with that like pituitary axis. There's these Canadian geese here that sound like freaking Mars attacks. They are wild. Like, okay. I don't know if you can hear that because I just have this little microphone on. Anyway, so essentially what has happened is this surgery has launched me into the thick of perimenopause, where again, I had 0 symptoms before. So I was unprepared for all of this. I was unprepared to be sterile. I was unprepared to have another ectopic. I was unprepared for perimenopause. Like, it's just been a whirlwind, a total nightmare, truly. And I say that cautiously because I don't want to be disempowering, and I don't want to pretend like, or project like, oh, this is something you're not in this yet. You better be scared of this. Like, I don't want you to feel that way. What I wish, though, is that I knew about it. I wish I knew the signs. I wish I knew how to help myself more, because it has been a crash course in that for me. In one of my recent videos on this channel, I shared like some perks of, okay, well, if I can't have kids, I said that I wanted to look into hormone replacement therapy for like longevity purposes. So after the surgery, if like a week or two after, when I did my follow-up, I talked to my doctor about that, and she was like, oh, well, do you want to test your hormones? So we did, and all my hormones at that point, this is like 2 weeks post-surgery or so, were pretty normal. There wasn't anything there wasn't anything even in the like getting closer to the outer areas of like the high or low, kind of range, except for my testosterone. My testosterone was very low. But for like women, there's not really a like need for a certain amount of testosterone. It's not like, oh, it's low, we want to boost you up. It's just like, oh, that's low, but there really isn't a like specified marker that it's supposed to be at anyway, but just so that we know, that was kind of low. And then, I had another cycle, a couple months go by or whatever. I mean, I'm trying to do the math in my head. Let's say like, I don't know, 2 cycles go by, and things are just getting worse and worse and worse. My depression, so bad. And then the perimenopausal symptoms started like showing up super quick. Hot flashes, night sweats. I don't really get a ton of hot flashes, but I had like 1 night sweat, and that was enough for me to be like, I need to talk to my doctor. Like, I'm not going to put up with this, like, no. I think what I would love to share with you is, this is my era. This is me finally embracing a perspective that I am not going to suffer anymore. I'm not going to suffer. I've had really painful periods my whole life, or, most of my life. Really painful ovulation. I've put my needs on the back burner physically because I prioritize things above myself. It's not because anyone else does it or tells me to. It's me. And I'm not doing that anymore. And if I didn't finish my thought before, not everyone goes through this in such a painful, crazy way. Some people might not even know that they're like going through perimenopause. So I don't want to scare you. I just want to advocate a little here and share with you one person's story. And also, there's not a lot of information I found or stories that I found that are, while I know they exist, I know I'm not the only one, that are very specific to like what I've gone through. I've read a lot of stories of people who have had their ovaries removed for one reason or another, and then they go into menopause, and now they're dealing with that, and it's like, wow, like that's a big deal. Or people who are having experiences after they had like tubal ligation or something. I've read a lot, but I haven't really read a lot about someone who, had a second ectopic and then crashing into perimenopause. Like, so I just want to kind of contribute to maybe I don't say more rare, but like less likely way of like entering this phase of life. And I say this phase of life, but like, okay, so this phase of life, right? Like maiden mother crone, right? Like I'm spiritual, I'm witchy, I like that stuff, right? I finally started to see myself as mother like only very recently. My son is 13, he just turned 13, but like I didn't really embrace, and you guys are so sweet. My other channel people are like, you've been a mother to look at this community, and that's like just so sweet. So thank you. But just honestly, like I haven't even seen myself that way until very recently. I was sitting on this couch. My husband was laying on me, my son was laying on me, the dog was laying on me, and I was just like, oh wow, like, and I felt very empress. I felt very mother. Like I was like, oh my gosh. And that was right before I found out I was pregnant and all of this happened. So it just feels like, okay, anyway. Okay, where was I going? Okay, so I have been launched into perimenopause. It has not been gradual at all. It was a crash of pregnancy hormones, a cycle, another cycle where things started to get weird, and then just got like worse and worse and worse until like the next cycle that I had. I've had like 3 cycles since the surgery. Okay, so the symptoms have been horrid. And the one that I want to talk about first is the very much like trigger warning one, and that is the depression. The amount of like suicidal ideation in perimenopause, menopause, you wouldn't believe it. Like, it's quite common actually. I would never hurt myself. I have not only responsibilities, but I have like love and like love of life and stuff. Like, I wouldn't do that to my son. I wouldn't do that to my husband. I wouldn't do that to you, So please don't worry about me. I would never hurt myself. I'm healing and helping myself. But I want to honor that I still have these feelings, like when things were really bad. Again, only up until like a week ago. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I'm all fixed now. Things have been great for a week. Realistically, that's kind of not really, can't really count on that, right? But whatever. Okay, so basically, like I said, whether it's from blood flow to the ovary situation, whether it's from the trauma of the surgery itself, the stress, like the cortisol of the surgery, the inflammation, the scar tissue forming. I don't know exactly what it is, and there's not really like a test that my doctor can do for me right now anyway. But she confirms with me my suspicions that this has launched me into perimenopause, where I had 0 symptoms before. All right. So I go from like, again, feeling kind of mother to like, oh my gosh, like I'm on my way to Crone. Like, what is going on? And I know these are like it doesn't work like that. Like, you're still a mom if you're a Crone, right? Like, I'm not trying to, but just like how I'm trying to process and understand myself and like help myself too. So, the hot stuff, the brain fog, the irritability, the like extreme moodiness, the depression, the anxiety. I've been having intimacy problems, which are getting better, but intimacy problems. And my husband and I have like a very healthy relationship that way. And and like I had surgery, I lost a pregnancy, I, was healing. So of course, right? Like, you're going to need time for that, right? But it was getting kind of scary, It was like, I have no desire. No desire. I'll just put it like that. I'm not trying to be lewd or anything, but like, it was a problem. And it just felt like kind of like this final straw for me, because I love that time with my husband. Like, I love connecting with him. And I just felt like, okay, like another way that I'm broken, another way that this has taken something from me. So I went to my gynecologist again and talked to her. I'm super depressed. I'm having all these symptoms. Like, is this because of surgery? And she's like, yeah, that can happen. And it's really unfortunate, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to move into what has been helping me. And that is, I am on hormones. And it's kind of a, what would you call it? It's not like the traditional route. However, this is a very common route at the same time. But like when you hear perimenopause, you hear like, okay, like an estrogen patch maybe, or or pills, or, implants. I am on testosterone for my libido and confidence and, personal energy and stuff. And I'm on birth control for my hormones. The birth control, I wasn't really even asking for hormones when I went to the gynecologist this more recent time where I got these hormones and stuff. I was more just like, what is going on and like what is happening, because this is not what I've expected, not what I expected to be dealing with. Like, how do I navigate this? Like, I am so depressed. So the first thing we talked about was like libido, and my doctor asked me if I wanted to try like an estradiol cream. So when you're getting into hormone replacement or hormones in general, or I guess medication or anything in general, there's systematic, which means it goes through your whole system, obviously, and then there's local. And if something's local, it's much safer because it's not going through your system. So hormones can have like a slight increased risk of like blood clot or something, for example, right? But if it's local, that risk is not there. So they typically would suggest something local just to be like safe, or like really like kind of dipping your toes in it, right? But I chose not to try the estradiol cream first for a local approach because I just wanted to see what other options there were, because I am a little concerned, like if I'm doing this for me, but also like this, my intimacy is something I share with my husband, right? And I was kind of concerned about like, I won't say cross-contamination, but you know, him getting estrogen on him, because you have to be really careful with stuff like that and make sure you're washing your hands really good. And if I'm putting it here and we're gonna do this later, like I just thought that was like, maybe there's something else. So she asked if I wanted to try then like a testosterone. So I thought that was a little more, I thought, yeah, I'll try it, especially because the one time that I did get my hormones checked a couple weeks after surgery, testosterone was the one area that was low. I was like, okay, you know what, let's try that. So I've been on testosterone for a little over 2 weeks. It's like these little sachets. I'm still on the first one, and I squeeze out like a little pea-sized amount and put it behind my knee here, like rub it into like the back of behind my knee every morning. And I do feel like that is helping a lot. I feel like I have more energy. I do feel a little more confident, and I do feel a little more desire. Sorry, TMI, but it's a very valid part of hormonal changes. And like I said, I just felt like so much had been taken from me without my consent, without my preparation. And for that area to be taken feeling from me, it was just like this last straw. I was like, I have to figure something out, because no, you know. Okay, so at that same appointment, I also was prescribed a birth control patch, or birth control, and I chose the patch. The reason I went on birth control, which is funny, right? I'm sterile and I'm on birth control, but it's to prevent ovulation, because since the surgery, my ovulation has been more painful than, well, I don't want to say than anything, but more painful than it should be. Way more painful. I've always had painful ovulation, but it usually lasts like maybe 6 hours, where I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little pinch. Oh, I think I'm going to ovulate today. Oh, okay. Oh, it's getting a little intense. Okay, ow, ow, ow. And then it's gone, you know, kind of peaks and then it like leaves. My ovulation since surgery is so painful and lasts days. I've always been able to tell when I ovulate and which side I ovulate on. Now I feel pain on both ovaries. I feel pain in the center, and I'm telling you, for days, like days of cramps and pain, and so bizarre, like I've never experienced before. So much, like I can't sit down. I'm like leaning on furniture. I'm like, what? You know, like, and I get to a point where it's peaking, and I can only lay down and like try to let it pass. It's so bad. It hurts all the way up under my ribs, down my leg. So my gynecologist brought up birth control, and I wasn't thinking that at all, but I was like, you know what? And, you know, okay, another thing, I don't want to sound like I'm on some high horse. I am not a judgmental person. as long as you're not hurting someone, right? Like, I am the last person to judge anyone. I am not judgmental, so please do what's right for you. But, you know, in the past, I have had a personal judgment of myself where I make things harder for myself. I really wanted a natural birth, and I don't regret having a natural birth, but, you know, that was super painful. And it's fine. Like, I'm not saying I regret it, but I'm just trying to think of examples. I, you know, will forego painkillers because, oh, well, you know, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why, honestly, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, I had a thing. Oh, I don't want chemicals in my body messing with my hormones. But my hormones are messing with me. Like, they are messing with me, with my life, with my quality of life, and who I am at this point. So I thought, you know what? I don't want to deal with that painful ovulation ever again. I don't want to deal with that again. I can't get pregnant. Why should I deal with that? So I went on the birth control, and I've been on it for 2 weeks. I'm using the patch. Today's the day I'm supposed to change it. And the last week has been the closest I've felt to normal, you know, whatever that is, stable, predictable, myself. I still am feeling like I'm not handling stress as well as I used to, but that's okay. I'm learning, and I'm going to share with you a lot of that stuff too. But just to get it out of the way and share with you, like, I'm on hormones now, and I probably will be for the rest of my life. Like, I don't know. I have felt a tremendous relief from it, and while I might tweak it or change things, obviously I won't be on birth control for the rest of my life, but I'm not going to suffer. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to let something I can't control take any more of me. Like, I need to be actively participating in my wellness. And that brings me to talk about, like, other changes that I've had to make for myself. And I don't know how relatable this will be. I know everybody's different, right? But there are just areas that I, specifically food, sleep, exercise, and, like, supplements, I have to take care of myself. So what do I want to talk about first? I mean, sleep, pretty obviously, that's important, but I've changed my schedule. I've always been a night owl. And if I could sleep late every day, you bet I would. That's my preference. And while I certainly don't do that very often anymore, even before all of this, I can't even come close to that anymore. I need to be in bed, or at least brushing my teeth, you know, like, by 9. I have to be in bed by 9. I can't do it anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I need my hormones to balance. I need the cycle to process. I need my sleep. And I need to get up earlier, because by getting up earlier, I have time to go for an hour walk, which I don't do every day, but at least like 3 times a week. I have time to break my fast properly. I'm going to talk to you about food and stuff, but break my fast properly. I have time to sip and enjoy my coffee versus rushing and then feeling like I need another one because I didn't enjoy that one. The sleep schedule, like, had to change. I like the idea of getting up early, don't get me wrong, but, like, it had to change, and that's where I'm at now. I think the latest I've slept in all of this has been like 7, which sounds maybe that doesn't sound very early to some people, but if I had nothing to do, I would sleep. That's always what I would like to do. What would you like to do? I would like to sleep. I would like to take a nap. I'd like to sleep. That's always what I would like. So anyway, okay, so sleep, kind of obvious, kind of simple. I need to go to bed early, and I need to get up earlier. I need that rhythm. I need that cycle. It's, like, essential for my wellness now. Okay, food. I talked about, like, breaking my fast. Let me talk about caffeine actually first. Never been a huge caffeine person, but I do love cola. Like, not that I drink it all day, but, you know, a couple times a week maybe I'll have, like, a cola somewhere. If I get, like, my son some junk food or something, Or just yesterday, we went and got some lunch and they didn't really have a lot of drink options. And I was like, oh, I'll get a Coke Zero, you know. I like cola, but I do have a coffee every morning. And in the past, I might have we got like an espresso maker for the household. Like it was like a Christmas gift for the household last year. So since then, like I have a shot of espresso. Maybe it'll be an Americano. Maybe it'll be a cappuccino if I have the time. But basically, I'll have like my shot of espresso in the morning somehow. I don't sip the espresso straight, but somehow. But if I just drink it too quickly and I'm not present for it, before 12, I end up wanting to have another one, and sometimes I would let myself have one because I wasn't present for that one. Okay, that was my wake-up coffee, but like I want to enjoy my coffee. And I know I could get decaf and stuff, which I probably will too, but like I'd think, oh, but I want to enjoy it. So I'd make another one just to like enjoy it, you know, to have it be more of like a ritual. And I can't do that anymore, and I can't have the cola anymore either. I just bought myself some caffeine-free Zevias or whatever they're called because I have to really monitor my caffeine. Again, this was not a problem for me. This is not a problem for me just earlier this year. And now if I had that cola yesterday, I didn't even finish it. I was feeling my cortisol rise. Like I was feeling this like wiry, not even like hypercaffeinated feeling, but like not aggression, but like just irritation, stress, grumpiness. Like I just felt it. So I have to watch my caffeine. I love coffee. I love the ritual of coffee. I love the smell of coffee beans. I love making, you know, like I love doing it, but I can't. So if I think what I'm trying to get to is like waking up in my food and stuff. If I cannot be present to enjoy my coffee, I might as well not even drink it right then and have it later. Like I need to bring that mindfulness into my caffeine consumption and know that if I'm out and about and I want a cola, I probably shouldn't have it. Like I probably can't have it anymore unless it's like earlier in the day or if I'm having like maybe a little bit of it, but regardless, it's like a danger zone now. Like caffeine is now a danger zone for me, which is wild. I never would have thought that this is like is part of the thing that I have to deal with now, which, you know, not the end of the world, right? That's not ruining my life, but it's something that if I'm not mindful of, I feel that stress. I feel the cortisol. It's wild. Okay, so that brings me into like nutrition and stuff. I will say I have not always been great about feeding myself. I do like processed foods. I do like some junk food, you know, but I also really like healthy foods too. My problem comes from how easily I can skip meals. I don't know if this comes from childhood. My mom, while I wouldn't call her anorexic, she didn't eat all day and then she would eat dinner. And she was very thin, you know, she just wouldn't eat all day and then she would eat dinner. She would smoke cigarettes and drink coffee and then have dinner. And on top of that, there was plenty of times I went to bed hungry. Like there's plenty of times my brother and I did not have dinner for one reason or another, probably because my parents were fighting or something like that. So I think that I, at an early age, learned to ignore my hunger cues. I know that's not like a problem a lot of people have, maybe, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not trying to say that's like super relatable, I don't know. But I've many times in my life just easily gone like without food, and then it starts to become a problem because for me anyway, the less I eat, the less I want to eat. So I have to be careful, right? I can't do that anymore. And I've been trying not to do that for years now anyway, but I mean, I have to really be mindful of my nutrition now. So I'm just sharing that maybe with you as like a precursor to like a challenge that I have. It's something I've always had to like watch myself to fall into. And it's not like, oh, I'm not eating because I want to be thin. It's not that, it's stress. Like it's just stress, or I'm busy, or I'm putting my own physical needs on the back burner because there's something else that I think is more important, whether that's work, starting a new job, whether I just got into a new relationship. Maybe have been times when I've done that, whether I'm just stressed about something, or, oh, well, I don't need breakfast, I'll eat lunch. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna work through lunch, I'll have dinner. Oh, I don't know what I wanna eat, I'm just gonna eat this handful of, and then, like, it's been that type of thing. So I've known that I've had to work on that, and I have been working on that. And my husband is so great for that, because that man eats. he's not gonna let me starve, that's for sure. But regardless, okay, so in terms of perimenopause, in terms of hormones, in terms of balance, and making sure that my body has everything that it needs, these are the things I'm learning. I have to eat breakfast. And I love breakfast food, but like I don't love eating breakfast. So I have to break my fast, even if that's little things. So dates with peanut butter, like 3 of those even a little something, because in the morning I don't have an appetite. And I'm busy, you know, I'm getting my son ready for school. I'm taking my dog out. I'm, getting the laundry started. I'm planning out my day. Like, I'm busy in the morning. My husband's getting ready for work. He's buzzing around too. Like, you know, the mornings are busy. So I don't really feel super hungry. I used to make my son breakfast every day before he went to school, but now the school he goes to now, they give him breakfast. So I'm not in that routine. But some macadamia nuts, a little, low sugar, not like diet, but like just lower sugar dark chocolate, like a little piece of dark chocolate. I'll make like some protein cookies sometimes that are mostly just like almond flour, peanut butter, maybe casein, and like kind of low sugar, and I'll have that. Or I don't know, just like little things. Like even a little thing is better than nothing. An apple, a banana, like whatever fruit I have around that I can just grab, a little bowl of berries, but just something to break my fast, and that starts to help me cue my hunger. And then I have to make sure that I do actually eat breakfast eventually, within like an hour or 2. So I'll get up, I'll have my little break fast, I'll drop my son off, I'll come back, and then I'll have time to like make myself something. So that might be like eggs or like an egg sandwich. I'm from Jersey. We love our, bacon, egg, and cheeses there. So I had that today. I like to make even like those, what are they called? Kimbaps from Trader Joe's, just like the microwavable. It's like a tofu, Korean kind of sushi-ish roll. I'll have that and some kimchi. I'm trying to bring in like probiotics, whether that's yogurt and apple and some cinnamon and a little maple syrup, or again, like fruit that I have, some proteins. But essentially my main breakfast, I'm trying to get like a variety, a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of something probiotic-y, some fruits, and some proteins. And I'm just trying to make sure I have like a nice variety. It doesn't have to be huge, but like a variety, and I'm like actually fueling myself here. This is like the fueling myself breakfast. If I eat that good, then I can have kind of whatever for lunch. I don't have to have a big lunch. But what's different for me now is I'm eating dinner much more early than I used to. I've always tried to make dinner by 6:30, especially when my son's here, but there's plenty of times where like I didn't even get started cooking till 7:30, which again, I'm not judging, right? Like you can eat whenever you want. But I'm learning that I can't do that anymore, because then that starts to mess with my sleep. So I have to, ideally, I'd be like done with dinner by 6, ideally. So this way it's like little breakfast, little break the fast, and maybe have my coffee with that and like be present for it. Even if it's 2 minutes where I'm just sipping like my little coffee or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm eating. Let me enjoy this. Okay, beautiful. Starting my day. Get my little morning stuff done. Come back. Have a bigger, more nutritionally dense breakfast of some kind, which isn't lunch, but now I'm like a little past breakfast, so it's kind of like pushing the time zones here a little. Definitely have a snack at some point during the day, and then I might eat lunch, but I also might just kind of graze a little for lunch and then have my early dinner. So it's breaking my fast, making sure I'm eating a variety of stuff for breakfast, having like usually like now like a lighter lunch, and then like my dinner early has really been helping me. I know that sounds like you might do that already. And you're like, yeah, that's not, or it might not sound like a big deal. It's helping me so much. It's helping me so much. It's just great. I am really, really wish I had been doing that before. Okay. So now talking about supplements, I talked a little already about like how I'm trying to eat something probiotic, whether that's kimchi or yogurt, or even if I'm eating like cottage cheese or something, I try to get more of like a probiotic version of it. But I'm taking a probiotic now finally. I have taken probiotics before, but like I'm realizing I need it. One of my perimenopausal symptoms was like stomach upset. Like my stomach was just not digesting the same. So essentially like estrogens and, you know, I don't fully understand all the nitty gritty, right? But it messes with everything in your body, from the, like everything. The estrogen receptors are everywhere, and it also messes with your digestive system. So, and like your microbiome, you know, whether that's in your gut, your armpits, your nose, your ears, your mouth, everywhere, you know, it's messing with stuff. So probiotic is very important for me. I've only recently started taking it, and my stomach already feels better. Like I haven't even been a full week and I already feel better. I'll put a link to like the one that I'm taking below. I like it, you know, if you're looking for a probiotic. I'll put a link to like whatever supplements I'm taking below, and I'll try to explain it here for you. In addition to that, I also take, of course, like my I just said probiotic, my it's a prenatal vitamin because I have so many of them that I'm like going to work through them, but my multivitamin is what I'm trying to say, a multivitamin. I take like a omega-3 of some kind, usually like a fish oil or something. I take a vitamin D and a vitamin K combo supplement. And the other stuff that I'm taking is now more for, again, like the perimenopausal symptoms. So I think the brand is called O Positive. I've been trying their menopausal supplements. I want to say they have like fenugreek, maca, something else in there. And I'm also taking sea buckhorn supplement. So it's like an oil supplement that's omega-7s, and that's just supposed to be good for like lube in your whole body. And obviously, you know, where you want it, but also like skin and just in general. Like it just seems like it's a good one to be taking if you're in perimenopause or menopause, but you know, up to you. What else? I'm taking a DHEA supplement, which it's a funny, it feels really funny to be taking it because it's like a testosterone blend, which it doesn't have testosterone in it, but it helps your body to like convert things into testosterone. So it has DHEA, it has something called like Cistamax or something. It's from Nootropics Depot. Something else is in it that I can't remember the name of. But I'm taking one of those to help me in testosterone and estrogen production. And at night, I also take some supplements. So at night, because I'm trying to relax and reduce my stress, I take a saffron specifically for depression. It's known to be helpful for depression. I take a, oh gosh, what's it called? Not theanine. Crap. Androgen? Androgen? A word like that. I'll look it up and I'll put it here. And I also take a boron at night as well, a low dose boron. I think it's like 3 milligrams or something, micromilligrams. And I take that to help with clearing any sex hormone binding agents. So if we're dealing with hormones, it's not only like the level of hormones that you produce, but also the free hormones. So like my free testosterone, my free estrogen, and boron is supposed to help with clearing these sex hormone binding agents that grab the free stuff. Like I want some free stuff and it's grabbing the free stuff, so I take the boron to keep it from grabbing all the free stuff because I want it to circulate. So that's what I take at night. Finally, my final piece of the puzzle here for me, well, I shouldn't say final, but one of the biggest things here is exercise. To be honest, I have not fully gotten into this yet. I'm just got like a bench. I just got some dumbbells upstairs in the bedroom because I want to do it up there in my privacy. And I've been going to the gym with my husband, again, just like 3 days a week to walk for an hour. But exercise in the morning, the days that I go to the gym or do the walk for an hour, even if it was like around the neighborhood, I feel so much better. I feel so much more calm. I feel so much more able to process stress and deal with things that come up. I feel like I'm laughing more. I just feel like the days that I go to the gym or take a walk in general are the best days. Like they really make me feel better. It's a little tricky because again, my son goes to school, so it's like I gotta go before he goes to school. That means I have to get up at 5:30, which like maybe you guys that 5:30 is very early. I know I want to do that. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be in bed by 9, but 6 is fine. 5:30 for some reason it's like extra, but I'm working on it. But point being, the cardio, the weightlifting, the strength training, I guess better is to say that 'cause it's not like I'm lifting super heavy weights or anything, but wow, so helpful. I wish it wasn't so helpful because I hate doing it, but it's so helpful. It's so helpful. So if you are dealing with any of this, I'm sure you already know these things I said because it's kind of like the foundations: sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress management, and potentially supplements or potentially hormones if you go that route. Those are the foundations, and wow, like they have helped so much. It's like night and day. It's like night and day. I was such a mess even just a week ago, like such a mess, so hopeless feeling, so depressed feeling, and really understanding why this is such a time where a lot of people feel like, I wish I was dead, you know, like a lot of people feel that way. Like it makes sense. Okay, so what else is helping me? Well, I just have to say, like, my husband's just amazing. Like, he's so, I don't know if it's because he has like a medical sort of like scientific background, so he's very grounded and practical. He also is like a super Capricorn, like has so much stuff in Capricorn, so he's just like very grounded, very realistic, and just like such an amazing person. Like I just love him so much. So obviously that's very helpful to me. But what else has been helpful is reading has been helpful. So just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the words here. Tools that are opening my mind to helping me to alchemize this experience so I see it as a empowering, I can approach it empowering versus victimized, running away, fighting this, no, why, I don't want to do this, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I did like my tarot cards recently. Actually, it wasn't tarot. It was like a type of German oracle sort of deck called Symbolon. That deck hits so hard, by the way. Like rude, you know? Like when I was worried about my ectopic and I didn't know if it was an ectopic yet and I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't remember exactly where I was, but I was like in the concerned period for this. The cards that I got, one was called the Alpha Woman and the other was called the Abortion. Like they're always on point. And what it said was, this doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that what it said was, this doesn't necessarily mean that something's going to go wrong. It doesn't have to be literal like that, but what are you sacrificing of yourself? And then it had like this alpha woman character too. And, you know, when you're doing divination for yourself, when you're a mess, not really recommended, but it's also like, I get it because I do it too. You know, if you're looking for anything to just like help you make sense of something. So, you know, at the time I was just like, oh God, okay, yeah. But in hindsight, I see it. This attempt at pregnancy and this loss has sacrificed so much of me. Like, I'm not who I was, you know? And it's not that I'm worse or better, but it's different. It's different, and I'm headed into more different, you know? So the process of, okay, wait, where was it going? Pulled cards, I talked about that. Pulled cards more recently, and it talked about fate, you know? It talked about like you're entering fate, like you are about to be hit by fate, and that feels very true. And it said like you can either walk into this and, you know, it will go a lot smoother for you, or you can fight it, which is, you know, basically just like not the way to go. Like it's going to be a lot more painful if you try to fight it. So what's helping me is any story, any connection, any perspective that helps me to change my perspective, to embrace this situation and empower myself through it versus feeling victimized. This wasn't supposed to happen. I'm not even supposed to be here. You know, like something was done to me, like something was cursed, like, you know, because I do feel that way, but I'm trying not to feel that way, because what good does that do, right? You're better off, in my opinion, right? Like being empowered no matter what. Even if the worst thing in the world has happened to you, way worse even than this, you're better off with an empowered perspective. And I know that that's hard. Like that's truly like turning lead into gold, right? But I just feel like that's my goal always. Like I'm better off that way. So some things I've been reading, more practical things. Naomi Watts wrote a book. I really love her. I love Eastern Promises and I Heart Huckabees and 21 Grams, and I'm sure many other movies that she's done. And she wrote a book about menopause this year, 2025. And it's quite practical, anecdotal, stories from her friends and people she's met. And, you know, it was nice and foundational, yet comforting. And you're just reminded that, you know, if you're lucky enough to live this long, like you're going to go through something like this, right? Additionally, on the more like spiritual level of books, I purchased a book called The Crone Initiation. I haven't finished reading that one. The initial chapter, so that one's more of like a collection of stories by authors and artists. I said that, pronounced that weird. The first one was really beautiful. It talked about consent. It talked about doing a ritual, an initiation, a calling it in, like when you're about to take this journey, right? And it just, everything just feels like it's happening to you. And this is like a ritual of consent, like you are calling in the crone. And it talks about it like a barge. Like a barge is gonna come, pick you up, take you on this crazy journey, get you there, and bring you back eventually. And when you come back, that's like when you've crossed the threshold into like menopause perhaps or something. So it just was like interesting to read it from that perspective, to read this ritual, which I'm intending on, you know, kind of adapting it to my own version, but something like that. And yeah, like this concept of consent, you know, and I think that that can be, again, empowering, right? And that's what I'm after. There was also a chapter or entry in there, which I think was titled What We Don't Talk About When It Comes to Menopause, or Things We Don't Say During Menopause or Perimenopause. But it talked about suicidal ideation and, you know, how like you are, quote unquote, like you are metaphorically dying, but it feels like you are physically dying. And that's why you're in so much pain, potentially, right? Also, very comforting. I've read already that that's like fairly common, unfortunately, to have those kind of thoughts and feelings, but it was like written well, and I really appreciated that entry. It like felt good. I had my husband read it even to like help him understand, because when I tried to talk to him about that, he's very present and kind and everything, but he like doesn't get it. He's like, but how could you feel that way if you have, you know, your son and you have me? And I'm like, it's not that I ever would, it's just like this feeling. And it really helped me to like put things into words for him when I was struggling. The other book that I'm reading, which is also a collection, is Women That Run with the Wolves. It's a very popular book to my understanding. I actually bought it for all the people who I was in a shamanic class with. So I bought it for everybody, including myself. And I did start reading it a little bit and put it down, but I think I've just been saving it potentially for now because it feels really good to be reading now. I'm specifically looking forward to this one story of the skeleton woman. I don't know it, but I kind of cheated and looked it up online a little bit, talking about, it's a story of love healing in a way, I guess. I mean, again, I haven't read it, but it's a story of a woman who was like cast into the sea by like her father maybe or something like that, and a fisherman gets her skeleton like caught in his net, and he cuts her out and brings her home, and is just like crying for her and stuff, and she drinks the tears and starts to like regrow her flesh basically, and uses like the drum of his heart. Like, I don't know, it's just like this, it sounds really beautiful. Like, I'm really looking forward to really reading that one. But the concept there is like regrowing yourself, you know, and that just kind of resonated with me. And specifically too, I haven't read anything about this before, but my friend Chloe, hi Chloe if you're watching, was talking about, or mentioned in a comment, this archetype that she's heard of between mother and crone, because it's journey. Like I said, it's not just like boop boop, you know, like you start menstruating, I guess you become mother, right? Like, or something like that. Maiden is very much like self-centered, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like really like learning yourself. Mother is about like caring for others. Again, I'm being super simplistic here. And crone is like, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna find out, but like more wisdom, more sovereignty. And but Chloe had mentioned that she heard of this like intermediate sort of archetype called the wild woman. And I was like, oh, like I didn't reply to her yet, but I was like thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm just reading that book now, The Women That Run with the Wolves, very wild woman archetype. And it does feel that way. And it doesn't feel wild like, ooh, I'm gonna let my hair down and I'm gonna I'm gonna dance under the moonlight. Like, no, I feel like feral. Like, I feel like a Wolverine in the woods, like not because I'm hyper aggressive, or I don't mean it like that, but I feel feral. Like, if I could put it that way, I feel very feral right now, and like I'm gonna embrace it. And my feral side is telling me like, stop suffering, like don't suffer, don't get on a high horse, don't be a martyr, don't like don't put work beyond like your prioritize of yourself, you know, prioritizing yourself and all of this. So that's where I'm at right now. I do feel so much better, and I know I owe it to the hormones. Like, the hormones are helping me to balance. They're helping me to approach this from a more calmed or stable, at least, versus this like wildness of the fluctuations that I was experiencing before. I don't know when this journey ends for me. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know if everything is going to be rushed. I don't know if things are going to cool off. Like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just end on this note that one of the biggest challenges that I feel is like hard for me to grasp is that I don't have my own mom to talk to about this. My mom died before I gave birth to my son, before I was pregnant with my son. So there's so much that like I didn't get to talk to her about from that journey, like becoming a mother. And you really start to feel it then, like I couldn't ask her, well, when did I walk? Or when did my teeth come in? Or what was my first food? Or was I sleeping through the night? Well, how long did you breastfeed? Like, I couldn't ask any questions at all, And now that I'm going through this, like, I really wish I could ask her some stuff. Well, when did this happen for you? Or when were you feeling it? Like, for example, my mom moved to England when I was 15. She had me at 22, so she was 37. So she moved to England when I was 37. I don't know if she was like in perimenopause yet. I don't think so, but it's getting close to that time, So her behavior, her desperation to escape her life kind of makes sense to me. I don't think what she did was right. I certainly wouldn't make those choices, the same choice. But in the last few months, I just have felt like I want to escape. Like, I'm sick of Florida right now. I hate where I live. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm sorry, I'm being a little negative, but like, I hate where I live. I really miss my old place. I miss the neighborhood that I used to live in. I just like really don't like where I live, and I feel like this. I understand the feeling of like wanting to escape, So for her to just leave all her stress behind and go marry someone and like move to England, like I would never do that, but I kind of get it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of get it. Or the time I saw her before, one of the last times I saw her was September 11th. Like, it was, what was that, what year was that? 2001. So I saw her in 2001. I stayed there for 3 months. And that was, I remember her talking to me a little bit like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't get my period for 4 months, but then it came back and now I just have my period. So I know she mentioned something like that to me. And she would have been like 44 maybe around that time, something like that. So I know she was going through some stuff then. And then when I saw her when she was passing, like the last few days of her being alive, she had lung cancer that had metastasized, and she had what they called frozen shoulder. She was calling it frozen, I can speak, frozen shoulder. So she's in the hospital, she's dying of cancer, but she's complaining about her shoulder. So they ended up doing a surgery on her, even though she died in a week, doing a surgery on her and put like a metal rod in her shoulder or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's a symptom of perimenopause and menopause, is frozen shoulder. Like, why? I'm thinking she never had estrogen. She never had like hormone replacement. She never had anything to like help her through a lot of the things that I'm sure she was going through. And it just kind of like sucks, So I think that I've read that hormone therapy used to be very popular, maybe in the 80s or something. But a study came out that showed that it was slightly elevating like blood clots or like heart disease or something, and it totally changed the game when that wasn't the truth. It like slightly elevated things in a certain like classification of person, like as in ages, I don't know, I'm making this up a little bit, like ages 60 to 65, if they just started hormones, then had a slight increase in blood clot, like something along the lines of that wasn't as bad as they made it sound, but it made everybody halt hormone replacement. So since like the 80s or 90s till now, like now there's a resurgence of it, but people have been suffering, and I'm just like not here for it. I'm so glad that luckily, like as I'm going through this, like people are becoming more educated, people are, making a profit off it too, I'm sure. But at the same time, like I'd rather have options, So anyway, just I guess what I was trying to say there is my perspective on what other people, including my mother, have gone through really helps me to be even more like compassionate to their journey. My mom and I had a really bad relationship when I was younger, when I was a kid, when she lived with, still lived with me, or lived with my family. Then after that, it was kind of stressful, but also like whatever, better than it was before. But now that I kind of think of, the age that she was and, what she might have been going through and these like feelings of like wanting to escape, I just feel more empathy for her, I guess. And therefore probably like even more forgiveness. Not like I have to forgive her, right? But, like even more forgiveness, even more grace. Even like when I think of my aunt and stuff and like some crazy stuff that she's done, I'm like, oh, like I get it. She was in her feral wild woman stage there. Yeah, I can see that, like kind of thing. So it's just interesting perspective, I guess. Maybe that's what part of the wisdom, right, that we acquire as we get older. But all right, anyway, I'm so sorry this is long. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your amazing comments and support and just like generosity. I cannot thank you enough. Like the bills keep coming. Like I just got a new one today, or not today, I'm sorry. I guess this weekend. It's Tuesday. I'm talking about like Saturday or Sunday, but I just got a new one very recently. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am that I'm like, okay, I have the money for that. Like, and I don't even have to worry about it or think about it, because with the, lack of posting and stuff and the time that I've taken off of work, my income has definitely like a little bit. So for your generosity towards these bills and, my ability to support myself, I'm so grateful. I can't thank you enough. I don't know what I could ever do to repay you. I don't think it's really about that. In the comments that I see, it's more of like, oh, we get to do something for you. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I still feel very like, I don't want to say indebted, but just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If there's anything I can do for you, I'm here for you too, like as best as I can be. Thank you so much. I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and I'm excited to create some more videos for you on my other channel this week. I'm aiming for 2. We'll see how I do, but I'm aiming for 2 videos over there as well. So thank you so much. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.